In late 2019, I saw the potential in the life insurance industry. I started selling in person all throughout Southern California with another IMO. Drove 17,000 miles in about 5 or 6 months. I'd come home most days with like one guaranteed issue sale from AIG, which is not going to pay the bills, obviously. Stumbled upon Digital BGA after what seemed like an eternity, 5 or 6 months selling face-to-face. So I started to get contracted with Digital BGA, didn't have all my contracts in, so I was on the way to an in-person appointment at a trailer park. And I said, I'm just gonna stop, I'm early, I'm gonna call some of these telemarketed callback leads and give them a shot. Like the fourth person I called was this guy in Virginia, and I'm not working on a script, I'm just kind of, do you need life insurance? Let's see what you qualify for. And to my surprise, he says, yeah, I'll take the $15,000 for $118 per month from Royal Neighbors. Like, okay, okay, let's do the phone interview. You know, that's what I heard, you gotta do a phone interview. I'd never done a phone interview, so I'm kind of scrambling, figuring that out, jotting his information down. Meanwhile, some guy shows up right in front of my car and starts kind of yelling at me and waving his hands because I'm in his reserved parking spot. So now I'm trying to back up with the phone in my hands, scribbling information, trying to figure out this interview. Anyway, we figured it out. At the end, we hear those wonderful words from the interviewer. Congratulations, the applicant is medically approved for that simplified issue product. And it hit me right there. I was hooked. Like, I just made the biggest sale of my week while waiting for an in-person appointment that I drove an hour and a half to. There's got to be a more efficient way to do this. And that's when I really got started with Digital BGA. Hi, my name is Benjamin. I live and work from Southern California, and I've been with Digital BGA for about 3 years now. I've spent most of my life in the frigid Chicago area, so I'm thankful for every day of SoCal sunshine and warmth. I'm married and have 2 little ones, almost 4 years old and 2 years old now, and have another one on the way very shortly. In terms of my daily schedule, I wake up about 5:25 each morning and try to do a focused weight workout at the start of the day. And then my new thing is then 15 to 20 minutes in the sauna after that. Bought one of those infrared saunas from Costco. I'm a huge fan. You've got to try it if you haven't. There's nothing like sweating out those toxins and excess sodium from the extra 5 pieces of pizza that you shouldn't have had the night before. So highly recommended. And then I bring my Wall Street Journal in, of course, shower, get a quick breakfast, and then make the 15-step commute to my backyard shed office. Now, sometimes there's a little traffic on the way there, but overall there's nothing to complain about. Now, my office previously was in a bedroom in our house, and we were about to have our second child, so we needed to free up a bedroom. And I had this idea of turning a shed into an office. Turns out it's not an original idea. Lots of people are doing it. We did some research and planning, then made it happen. We had it installed. We added electric, insulation, drywall, trim, flooring, and paint. And when I say we, I really mean my wife, because she's the crafty one who can figure everything out. Anyway, it turned out really nicely. And the shed office allows me to work with no crying and screaming in the background from my kids, which really was a game changer for me. And of course, I'm only 15 steps away for breaks throughout the day, and do enjoy little visitors to the office every now and then. Sometimes they even bring me a muffin and a Diet Dr. Pepper if they know it's a rough sales day, so I always appreciate that. Once in my office for the morning, the first thing I do is I read the Bible and pray before starting each day. And the reason is, if I don't keep the truth of the gospel central in my life, I'll ultimately fail in every other aspect of life. There's a guy in the 1800s named George Mueller. He said, the first great and primary business to which I ought to attend every day is to have my soul happy in the Lord. And that's very true. Even as it relates to the business of life insurance, I pray every morning that God would send the right people to me on the phone who need life insurance. I usually start work about 6:50 a.m., so I'm ready for when calls come in right at 7 a.m. Pacific time. And the beauty of the Pacific time zone is that you can start early and end early. I've always had a work first, play later mentality, so I love that I can start at 7 a.m. and be done by 2:30 or 3 o'clock. At 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I'll go out for a trail run to clear my mind and get some sun. Sometimes in the final expense business, I feel what I call social worker fatigue. Sometimes you go 0 for 12 in a day, talking with completely irresponsible people with chaotic lives that you just cannot help. And running help relieves that stress. After that, it's time with the kids while my wife makes dinner. We have dinner and then usually more family time until the kids go to bed. Now I am a big Chipotle fan. So back when I was working telemarketed callbacks, I'd always tell my wife, now if I get 2 sales a day, we got to go to Chipotle. Just trying to make it rhyme there. But then TV leads started to heat up and I had to say, okay, 4 sales a day in Chipotle. And now we've moved it to 5. So 5 sales a day and it's automatic Chipotle. We have to go even if we don't want to. And I'm only halfway kidding about that. I've worked almost every type of lead, but the inbound TV leads is what completely took my business to another level. For me personally, there's not enough time in the day to successfully work outbound leads. There's so much wasted time with outbounds. People aren't answering their phones anymore. Our crowd rarely responds to texts, and most importantly, I don't have the swagger like Jen Basani or Shane Gore to keep people's attention when they do answer. So unfortunately, you don't get paid for the effort or the time spent. You get paid for what you produce. So you have to find the most efficient way to produce as much as possible. TV leads have helped me this year, submit on average $40,000 to $50,000 in AP per month, and that's just submitted. So subtract 30% for drop-offs and whatnot, which equals about an advanced profit of about $15,000 to $25,000 per month. Advanced profit. So total profit would be $25,000 to $40,000 if those policies all stay on the books. So I am extremely thankful that Digital BGA has had the foresight to aggressively test and develop these TV leads. One practical thing I do after every sale is getting a physical confirmation packet to my clients as soon as possible. Because if you think about it, we're selling something so intangible that if the client doesn't get something tangible, they're not going to keep it. You're essentially selling a promise that they'll never see come to fruition because they'll be dead, and a bland packet of paper, the policy, that people don't really understand anyway. So they need something that instills confidence that they made a great decision by buying life insurance from you. I mail it via USPS priority mail, and I use pirate ship because that way you get a big discount. It gets it there in 2 to 4 business days with tracking. So when they're on the phone saying, I didn't get my policy, I can't find it, you can tell them, hey, John, it was delivered at 3:09 p.m. on Tuesday to your mailbox. And then usually they somehow find it after you tell them that. I think what most independent agents crave is consistency. You want to know that if you give the same effort each week, use the same trusted leads each week, that sure, you'll have high weeks and low weeks, but over the course of each month, as you work large numbers of leads, as you follow up appropriately, and as you work your book of business, you'll get consistently great results. And for me, TV leads have made that goal as close to a reality as possible, and I could not get consistency from any other lead or strategy. As with any business, but especially this one, tracking your numbers is critical. If you live off your emotions and feelings in this business, you won't make it. I track every key performance indicator in a Google Sheets document. I did a quick video about this more in depth on the Digital BGA channel previously, but this allows me to always know exactly what's happening and what is projected to happen for the year. For instance, last week was a rough week for me. My feelings said that it was because leads were slow. It was the slow leads, that was the problem. But if I checked my numbers, I actually still closed about 23%, but my average sale size was way below average. It was $786 instead of $1,100, just based on the type of people that called. So now I can rationally diagnose the problem. It doesn't mean the results still don't hurt emotionally, but now I know I don't need to make a knee-jerk reaction or change to my script or to the lead source, etc. My goal is to be able to get a notification that I have a $2,000 chargeback, see if it's savable, obviously, but ultimately have no emotional reaction to it if it's going to fall off the books. Just remove it and move on. I want to put up so many sales that chargebacks don't bother me at all. This can be the greatest business in the world or the most stressful. I always say, pick your stress. A boss with rambling meetings, internal politics, a set salary, and a restricted schedule, or you control your own business, have freedom to be with your family, you get paid for what you produce, but you have to perform, and no sales, no money. Most people naturally want stability and predictability, so you have to balance the roller coaster of emotions. And for me, the overall guiding principle I try to live by is best expressed by George Mueller, that Christian evangelist who ran orphanages in England in the 1800s. He had this great quote. He said, "Here's the great secret of success. Work with all your might, but trust not the least in your work." Kind of weird. Work with all your might, but trust not the least in your work. Pray with all your might for the blessing of God, but work at the same time with all diligence, with all patience, with all perseverance. Pray then and work and pray, and still again pray, and then work. And so on all the days of your life. The result will surely be abundant blessing. Whether you see much fruit or little fruit, such kind of service will be blessed. So ultimately, I can't control who will and will not buy. I can just give my best effort every single phone call and leave the results up to him. And I fail at that all the time. Just ask my wife. But it's the overarching guiding principle that keeps me sane. So bottom line, I'm extremely thankful to Digital BGA for the opportunities they provide for the leadership of Nick and Jeff. They do a terrific job leading the company. And partnering with Digital BGA has been a huge blessing for me, especially in this stage of life with a young family. And they're always working on new opportunities, new leads, new technology. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.